Hello everyone, Tall Paul here with left-handed knife reviews. Today's review is on the Cold Steel Tuff Lite, model number 20LT. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with our facts and figures. This is going to be a 2.5-inch blade in Usability steel. The handle is made of plastic and measures at 3.5 inches. At the time of this review, this knife sells for $29.95 on Blade HQ. I'm going to put a couple items on the table for size comparison, as the actual dimensions of the knife will appear on the screen. First up is going to be our unsharpened Dixon Ticonderoga pencil, followed by the Civivi Elementum, and the Ontario Rat Model 2. Let's move over to Larry and my experience while using the knife. The Tuff Lite is okay to use. The handle has a good texture to it, and the rounded profile makes it fit really nice in the hand. The size of the handle gives enough room, even for our larger hands, and we're able to really only hold the knife one way. The knife carries large, and it feels like it took up a lot of pocket during the review. Let's take a look at what the Tuff Lite succeeds at. The Tuff Lite is a great cutter. The blade's factory edge is wicked sharp, and it really glides through tasks. The blade's shape, the Wharncliffe shape, is well suited for a lot of EDC tasks like opening boxes or slicing pallet wrap. This also feels like it's built like a tank. The locking mechanism, the triad lock, feels really secure, and it was noted by both Larry and I on our reviews. Let's move on to what this knife struggled at. This knife really kind of struggled with its edge. The factory edge is about 25 degrees combined, which is about 12.5 degrees on each side. This, combined with the blade being made out of Usability, didn't lead to the most durable edge. We did need to sharpen the blade during the review process, as we developed some spots where we had rolled the edge over. The thumb hole is sharp, but only on one side. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the carry on this guy. Let me grab my pocket diagram. So, the Tuff Lite sits right here in a pocket. Now, with other knives, with them being a little bit shorter and longer, they really sit to the edge of a pocket. Even a larger knife, like something like this, like the Praxis, takes up a lot of pocket. But with the Tuff Lite, it felt like it was carrying much larger than it actually was. And this was, we believe, due to the fact that when you carry a front edge wallet or a cell phone, they can get in and under the Tuff Lite, which means you have to navigate them kind of around the knife to get it up and out, which can lead to, you digging your hand in further, because with something like the Praxis, it's not really going to get all the way under it, and you're going to be able to get it up and out a little bit more easily. So that was one thing this knife definitely struggled at, feeling like it was taking up a lot more space than it was, and us having to kind of wrestle with it in our pocket. One other thing the Tuff Lite struggled with, and me and my father struggled with, was this backlock. It is quite difficult to disengage, especially out of the box. It is smoothed up over time after a lot of opening and closing. It definitely has gotten a little bit easier to close, but it is tricky and can be quite difficult because you have to really kind of push the backlock all the way down before the knife will disengage. Next up are points of note. Points of note are things that fall in the gray area between successes and struggles, but we still want to mention. So this knife really only has one position to hold the knife. If your hand doesn't fit into this position, then this knife is not going to fit you well. Both these finger grooves are a good size, and I imagine would fit an array of sizes of fingers, but this might be a poor knife for somebody on either the very large or the very small size of the hand spectrum. The pocket clip on this guy is all right. It's what I believe acceptable, held onto my pants securely, and only shows a small portion of the knife. Also on this knife, the hand to blade angle is a little bit odd. With it being a shorter blade, you definitely have to angle the blade a lot more to get into some tasks. Depending on what you're doing, that might not be a factor at all. And lastly, the lanyard hole is a really good size. Now for everything that's left. The part of the review, we talk about everything left-handed. The experience for this knife is identical for left and right-handed individuals. You have an opening hole, as well as a pocket clip that can be put on either side, and with this being a backlock knife, the experience for a left and a right-handed individual are identical. The one thing that I did notice about this knife is that for a right-handed open, I never noticed any discomfort. For a left-handed open, I noticed that the hole is sharp. I do not know if this is on purpose. If you look at the right-handed hole, there's actually a visible amount, you can see it shining there, of chamfering around the opening hole. On the left side, there is absolutely none, and it is sharp enough that you can see it actually taking some of the grime off the tip of my finger. For anybody else out there who owns a Tuff Lite, take a look at yours. Let me know if the hole for right-handed open is chamfered and the hole for left-handed open is not. I would love to know. Leave it down in the comments. All right, let's take a look at our final conclusions and recommendations for this knife. We recommend this knife for somebody who's looking for a well-built utility blade that is compact and has a really low scare factor. The Tuff Lite makes a great second or third blade. The knife does provide a close experience for both left and right-handed people. People we would not recommend this knife to are for people who are looking for a knife, not a utility blade. And for people who don't want to either sharpen or have sharpened this knife a lot. This knife is an incredible great cutter when it's sharp, but it does dull or roll quite easily. Thank you very much for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe for more great knife content. We'll see you next time.